Guess we're live, going live. What's up? Looks like everybody's getting ready to hang on in. Okay. Going live. Trip is signing in. Okay. Getting everybody logged on in here. Abby Holt, my sister. Get everything logged in. So I got some cool new news tonight I want to talk about. I have 3 or 4 updates I want to do about King of Hammers, plus some cool stuff I want to talk about with the race season coming up for 2020. One of the things I'm super excited to talk about is King of Hammers. Obviously, that's only a few weeks away. I have finalized some more plans. I know a lot of you guys know Aaron Sheldon and Ryan Webb, both part of Kryptonite Customs. They run the Agnes buggy out of Texas. We'll just say it's Texas. I know the shop, Kryptonite Customs, is actually in Louisiana, but Aaron's from Texas, so we kind of throw those around a little bit together. So those guys will be running side-by-sides, rock bouncers in the shootout and 4400 class, so they'll have several crews there. So I'm teaming up with those guys and a bunch of other people. We'll be renting a bunch of campers, and kind of horseshoeing them or circling them, and then have a big tent set up for King of Hammers. So we'll have several different race teams. So we'll have a ton of fun there. We're all kind of teaming up for that. And that will be a really, really good time. So we'll be out there. Again, I'll be doing some broadcasting stuff with Ultra 4, as well as we'll have several different categories we're racing in. So that'll be super, super awesome. And I'll be helping Pitt and maybe co-driving if somebody gets sick or, magically has a rapid illness. I may end up doing some co-driving, or I'm sure we'll definitely doing some pre-running. They're going to get out there a couple days before I will, so they'll be out there doing some pre-running with the side-by-sides for the side-by-side course. And they have several different side-by-sides racing in the side-by-side race on Sunday. So we're going to get out and do some pre-running, and we'll do some qualifying. I'll be flying on January 31st. So a couple weeks away, I'll be flying out on that Friday morning. I'll get there Friday evening sometime, and then we'll do some pre-running, qualifying on Saturday, racing on Sunday. So that'll be pretty cool. And again, that's the Kryptonite buggy. Like I said, they'll have some side-by-sides, a 4400 car they're going to do some racing with. So several different categories, several different days of racing. It's going to be an absolute blast. And essentially getting all facets of off-road racing out there. Obviously, the shootout between the Southern Rock Racing Series and the Ultra 4 guys is going to be super awesome. It'll be an absolute blast. I'm super excited. That's probably one of the coolest events. And I tell people, imagine if the World Series and the Super Bowl went head-to-head. That's kind of the comparison of what the shootout is like. And it's absolutely so much stinking fun. It's an absolute blast to do. It's one of the coolest things that goes on out there. And that's on Monday night. And usually they'll do it a drawing order of how they'll stagger everybody. It's a one-run event, and it's a single time. Similar to the Southern Rock Racing Series, except we do 2 events. Every time we go to an event, we do 2 courses. We do a course in the morning and a course in the afternoon, and we do a reverse draw. So we draw numbers live on Facebook for the race, and then we do odds and then evens, and then on the second course we do evens and odds. So the Monday night shootout will be a little bit different than normally you'd see in a Southern Rock Racing Series event, but it is still running pretty similar. It will be a timed event, so there will be a timer at the bottom and a timer at top of the course. Obviously, we kind of try to change the course out up a little bit each year, and usually it's either on backdoor or it's on the other side of the mountain the backdoor is on, usually. So one of those 2 sides is where the backdoor shootout will be taken out. It might not exactly be on backdoor. Like I said, with that, the backdoor is a lot of fun to do. The only problem is recovery is kind of an issue there, so we've kind of changed it up the last couple of years. So I'm super excited to see some of the cool parts about that. And obviously it'll be awesome. Me and Miles will be doing some of the broadcasting for that. So we can give us some kind of cool backstories on some of the drivers. We can talk about some of the different types of chassis guys run, different kind of motors, some of the different cool stuff from from the East Coast guys, the West Coast guys. They're both super, super awesome. So it's a really, really good time to get out there. And obviously, we'll try to give the best info for all the guys back home watching, regardless of what state or country you're watching from. I know a lot of guys tune in from overseas, and that's super cool. I know there's a couple guys from Europe that are already showing up out there at King of Hammers that are already unloading the cars. I seen one of the Ultra 4 Europe guys was already unloaded, and that's pretty awesome. And like I said, it's so cool to see people, from all over different states, from different countries show up. So that's super, super cool. And one of the other things I want to talk about tonight is the sponsorship program for the coming year. We've added a couple new sponsors. Obviously, Jet Hot we've talked about. Icebox Performance is staying on board. 300 Degrees Below is staying on board. iJet Hot is obviously a coating company. 300 Degrees Below is a company based out of Oregon, Sweet Home Oregon. Or Home Sweet Home Oregon, and they are a company. They basically Radiator Supply House is the parent company, and they make OEM radiators for pretty much every make and model of type of vehicle. And then Icebox Performance is kind of their custom line, where they do stuff more for obviously a very custom application. Usually those are on all aluminum radiator, whether it be for a drag car, whether it be for a monster truck, whether it be a rock bouncer, any kind of buggy, an Ultra 4 car side by side. And they can do custom radiators, custom trans coolers. So they're staying on board with us. They got some cool stuff in the works for us for the 2020 race season. So that's super exciting. 300 Degrees Below, they do a lot of cryogenic trees service. They've done some axles for us. They've done some part. They're actually based out of Decatur, Illinois. They're one of my few local sponsors. So we go talk to them, hang out with them, goof off them occasionally. And like I said, the nice part is if I have parts, I can run them over there. Takes a couple of days, turnaround time, we can pick them up. And they're usually good about getting my stuff turned around pretty quick. So obviously, I'm super geeked about them. Warren Winch is another one that stayed on board with us this year, which I'm super excited about. We just talked to them and got that deal finalized this week. So we'll have some more parts showing up here for the buggy. We're still trying to hammer out exactly what we're going to do for the 2020 race season. There's a couple things we might change up with the buggy. So we'll know more about that later. But I'm super excited about Warren Winch coming on board. Obviously, Warren is kind of they're kind of the golden standard of what a winch should be, and obviously they make a lot of great stuff for us. And they've done great up until this point, so we're super great to continue in the future with them. They're also a sponsor of the Ultra 4 race series, so I know they sponsor a lot of the Ultra 4 guys with like the 7284 series, which is just one of their old school winches that are just super beefy. The 7284 was an older winch that they've carried on through. They just released a limited edition of it that's super fast, line speed. It's really, really incredible winch. I know Jody Ford had one. He was demoing it on the other day on his winch. He was just spinning the freewheel on the part, and that thing just stinking flies. So I know a lot of those run. Some of those guys even run a 24-volt system. I know that the Campbell family, they're the Monster Energy logo sponsored Ultra 4 cars. They have a 24-volt system that they got from over in Europe. That's a Warren winch, and it's pretty fascinating to see how that works and how they run the double battery setup, and it's pretty neat. And obviously that thing, the line speed is absolutely incredible on it. So there's some other cool stuff. Like I said, we might be trying out for next year, so I'm pretty excited to see what we can do setup wise. We might be going with a lighter application at this point. I'm not sure. Again, we're trying to make the car a little faster and make it a little lighter, as well as keeping it strong and tough. So that's probably one of the coolest things I can team up with them. And obviously their reach is huge. I mean, they're a worldwide company. Everybody's heard of Warren Winch, whether you're camping guy, hunting guy. Pretty much everybody's heard of Warren. They're obviously a great winch. They also have some 110 volt stuff that they do. They have some small battery powered stuff for helping load stuff, which is super cool. So it's super great to be partnered with them for the 2020 season as well. So it's pretty cool. We got some cool stuff. I know I'll probably try to do a couple live feeds during King of Hammers. We'll probably try to do at least a couple of live feeds throughout the week. I might try to do one a day, depending on what the cell phone service is like there. It's pretty sketchy at King of Hammers because, again, you're out in the middle of a desert in the middle of nowhere. So if you usually stand on a mountain, like and jump up and down on one leg and hold the phone a certain way, you can get cell phone service. So we'll try to do some live feeds from there and try to do some stuff from the pit area, which will be super, super awesome. And it's a lot of fun there. Again, we do some driver stuff, talk to some cool vehicles. I know there's some guys that are running, independent front suspension, independent rear suspension. Some guys are good old faithful straight axle stuff, rear, front, and rear. So we'll try to do some stuff, get some cool pictures loaded. So stay tuned for the week of King of Hammers. It's going to be super awesome to check out and see what's going on there. And I'll have some more updates for the Rock Bouncer from now until the end of or at least beginning of the season. Our first race will be in Texas. So we'll get home from King Hammers. We'll be out in Hammers like 10 days. We'll get home. We'll be home about a week and a half, and then we'll turn around and head to Texas for the first Southern Rock Racing Series Cup Series race of the season. So keep watching our schedule. I'll drop our schedule here probably next couple weeks sometime. We have a couple more sponsors I want to finish talking about before we drop the schedule because it has all our stuff on it. But definitely stay tuned. We got some cool stuff coming up. And whatever you do, do it 100%.